You are eating less than you ever have. You are tracking every meal. You are staying in a calorie deficit that by every calculation should be melting fat off your body. And yet, the scale has not moved in 2 weeks, maybe 3. And the frustrating part is not just that the weight is not coming off. It is that you are doing everything right, and your body is acting like it did not get the memo. If that sounds familiar, I want you to know something important before we go any further. You are not broken. You are not lazy, and your metabolism is not permanently damaged. But something is happening inside your body that is working directly against your efforts. And once you understand what it is, everything is going to start making a lot more sense. Welcome to the Vitality Code. This channel exists for one reason: to give you real science explained in a way that you can actually use in your everyday life. If that is what you are looking for, hit that like button and subscribe right now, because we release new videos every single week, and this community is one of the most engaged and curious groups of people on the internet. You are going to want to stick around. So let us get into it, because the idea that weight loss is simply calories in versus calories out is one of the most oversimplified things ever said about the human body. And I am not saying calories do not matter. They absolutely do. But your body is not a calculator. It is a living system with hormones, stress responses, survival mechanisms, and biological feedback loops that have been evolving for hundreds of thousands of years. And many of those mechanisms exist specifically to prevent you from losing weight too quickly. Your body does not know you are trying to look better for summer. It thinks you might be starving. And when it thinks that, it fights back in ways that are invisible, powerful, and almost perfectly designed to make your scale stop moving. The first thing that happens when you cut calories is something researchers call adaptive thermogenesis. This is your body's way of adjusting to a lower calorie intake by simply burning fewer calories overall. Your metabolism, which is not a fixed number but a dynamic and responsive system, starts to downregulate. It does this in multiple ways. Your body temperature drops slightly. Your non-exercise movement, the tiny unconscious movements like fidgeting, shifting in your seat, and even the way you gesture when you talk, all decrease. Researchers have a term for this kind of unconscious movement. They call it NEAT, which stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Studies have shown that when people go into a calorie deficit, their NEAT can drop by hundreds of calories per day without them ever realizing it. You are sitting more still. You are moving less between tasks. Your body is conserving every calorie it can, and you have no idea it is happening. But here is where it gets even more interesting, and honestly a little bit wild. Your brain is actively involved in this process. The hypothalamus, which is the part of your brain that regulates hunger, body weight, and energy balance, starts receiving distress signals when your fat stores begin to shrink. In response, it increases the production of a hormone called ghrelin, which drives hunger, and it decreases the production of leptin, which is the hormone that tells you you are full and satisfied. This hormonal shift is not subtle. Studies have shown that after even moderate calorie restriction, hunger hormones can remain elevated for months, even after weight loss has stopped. Your brain is essentially keeping you in a state of biological urgency, pushing you toward food, making every meal feel less satisfying, and making cravings feel more intense. This is not a willpower problem. This is your evolutionary survival system running at full power. And there is something else happening at the same time that most people never hear about: your muscles. When you are in a sustained calorie deficit without adequate protein and resistance stimulus, your body does not exclusively burn fat for fuel. It also breaks down muscle tissue. And this matters enormously for weight loss, because muscle is your most metabolically active tissue. Every pound of muscle burns approximately 6 calories per day just to exist. Fat burns about 2. When you lose muscle alongside fat, your total daily calorie burn decreases even further. So now you have a lower metabolism from adaptive thermogenesis, a higher drive to eat from hormonal changes, and a reduced calorie burn from muscle loss. All three of these things are happening simultaneously, and together they create what researchers sometimes call the metabolic perfect storm. The exact conditions that cause a calorie deficit to stop working, even though you are still technically in one. Now, let us talk about something that does not get nearly enough attention in the weight loss conversation, and that is cortisol, your stress hormone. Most people think of cortisol as something that just makes you feel anxious or wired, but cortisol has a very specific effect on your body composition, particularly around your midsection. When cortisol is chronically elevated, and it often is in people who are dieting aggressively, working demanding jobs, not sleeping enough, and pushing hard in the gym all at the same time, it creates a biological environment that is almost perfectly designed for fat storage and muscle breakdown. High cortisol increases blood sugar, which raises insulin, which tells your body to store fat rather than burn it. It simultaneously breaks down muscle protein for energy, which reduces your metabolic rate. And it specifically promotes fat storage in the visceral area, around your organs, which is the most stubborn and dangerous kind of fat on the human body. You can be eating in a deficit and simultaneously telling your body to store fat if your stress hormones are chronically elevated. And a lot of people who are dieting hard are also stressed hard. The two go together more often than not. Here is something that connects to all of this in a way that surprises most people: sleep. If you are not getting 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep, your fat loss efforts are fighting an uphill battle that the research suggests you are likely to lose. A study published in the Annals of Internal Medicine found that when people in a calorie deficit slept only 5.5 hours per night, more than half of the weight they lost came from muscle, not fat. When the same group slept 8.5 hours, over 80% of their weight loss came from fat. Same deficit, completely different body composition outcomes. Sleep is not a bonus variable. It is a core variable. During sleep, your body produces the majority of its daily growth hormone, which is critical for fat burning and muscle preservation. It regulates cortisol. It resets ghrelin and leptin to more balanced levels. When you cut sleep short, every hormonal system that controls your body composition gets disrupted at once. There is also something worth understanding about water retention, because it can make the scale completely lie to you for weeks at a time. When you are in a calorie deficit, especially if you have recently started exercising or significantly changed your diet, your body holds onto water in ways that mask fat loss entirely. Inflammation from new exercise causes your muscles to retain water as part of the repair process. Higher sodium intake can cause fluid retention. Changes in carbohydrate intake dramatically affect how much glycogen your muscles store, and glycogen holds roughly 3 to 4 grams of water for every gram of glycogen. It is entirely possible to lose real fat while the scale stays the same, or even goes up, simply because of fluctuations in water retention. This is one of the most demoralizing experiences in weight loss, and it happens to almost everyone at some point. The fat is leaving. The scale just can't see it yet. So what do you actually do with all of this information? Because understanding why something is happening is only useful if it changes what you do next. The first thing is to reconsider how aggressive your deficit is. Research consistently shows that a moderate deficit of around 300 to 500 calories per day preserves muscle better, keeps hormones more stable, and produces more sustainable results than aggressive restriction. Slower is almost always more effective in the long run because your body has less reason to activate its defense mechanisms. The second thing is protein. If you are not eating at least 0.7 to 1 gram of protein per pound of your body weight, you are likely losing muscle alongside fat, which is reducing your metabolic rate and making the problem worse over time. Protein also has the highest thermic effect of any macronutrient, meaning your body burns more calories just digesting it. The third thing is managing your stress in a way that is not just good advice, but a metabolic necessity. Cortisol is not just a feeling, it is a fat-storing signal. Anything you can do to bring it down, whether that is walking, breathing exercises, better sleep, less aggressive training, or even just reducing the mental pressure you put on yourself around dieting, has a direct physiological effect on whether your body is in fat-burning mode or fat-storing mode. The fourth thing is to look honestly at your sleep, not your time in bed, your actual sleep quality and duration. Because if that variable is not where it needs to be, Almost nothing else you do with your diet and exercise will work at its full potential. And the fifth thing, which might be the most important of all, is to understand that weight loss is not linear. It never has been, and it never will be. The body moves in patterns, holds on, releases, adjusts, and sometimes stalls for reasons that have nothing to do with your effort and everything to do with your biology. The people who succeed long-term are not the ones who have perfect weeks. They are the ones who understand what is happening, stay consistent anyway, and do not let a plateau convince them to quit. If this video helped you understand something that has been confusing or frustrating you, I want you to do two things. First, leave a comment below and tell me which one of these reasons surprised you the most. Was it adaptive thermogenesis, the sleep study, the cortisol connection? I genuinely want to know, because your comments tell me exactly what to make next. And second, share this video with someone who needs to hear it, someone who is doing everything right and feeling like their body is working against them. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can give someone is an explanation that makes them feel less alone in what they are going through. Your body is not your enemy. It is just trying to keep you alive using rules that were written long before calorie counting existed. Learn the rules, work with them instead of against them, and watch what becomes possible.